question mark to a known value and no more than that. Hmm? We go to line 11. Very good. We go to line 11, and line 11 says we're at the end of a subroutine. We have to deallocate all the columns that we have allocated earlier. Okay, that's easy. And then where do we go? Line 9. Okay, but this time we have to change the context. Remember where you are executing line 9. Now, I know I'm executing line 9. I know line 9 now looks like G24. The question is, can I return now? No, because I have the invocation on the right-hand side to take care of. When I invoke S5 again, I have to know which n I'm going to use for this n minus 1. So that's why I have to kind of scroll a little bit to find out that, oh, column E, which is the n of the n minus 1, has a value of 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so now I'm all ready to invoke S5 again. Whenever you invoke S5, you need 3 columns. You need a return info column. You need a column for n. You need a column for x. X is the easy one because it's always an alias of column C, at least in this program. N is also not too hard because in this case, n is referring to column E, which has a value of 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Return info is basically based on the action that you're performing. I'm trying to get this done, but I cannot because of the invocation. So I will replace the invocation itself with a question mark. So we are still on line 9 when we return. The first invocation is already resolved to 42. I don't mess with that. The second invocation is the one that I'm trying to resolve now, and as a result, it is replaced by a single question mark.
Why deallocate on line 11?
On row 25?
Because we're not done yet.
We are done. We are done with that invocation. See, that's what I was talking about. Remember, the return, when we execute a return statement, the only job of a return statement is to copy and paste the return info cell, change the question mark to a particular value, but we don't finish that statement. Okay, we just resolve what the question mark is.
Okay, and why do we stay on the column G because of deallocated?
When we go to line 11, we're at the end of a subroutine, and when we're at the end of a subroutine, we always deallocate whatever columns was allocated for that invocation.
I'm talking about line 9, next line. Yeah.
You mean here?
Yeah, and why do we stay on column G?
Because we always allocate the leftmost available column. Now, this stuff is actually in the notes too. I revised my notes quite a few times to include as much clarifications as I can as I teach the class in the other classes. So if you read the notes again, which I will bring you to that part, you will see that there's extra information now available. Okay, once I set up column G, H, and I go back to line 4 because this is a brand new invocation of S5. Line 4 checks n equals to 0. It is false because n equals to 1. So the rest of this is really just kind of tedious, okay, because we go to line 8 next, which is adding 2 to x. So we have to use the other one to find out what exactly is x. At this point, it is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. So now we update column C to 9. And then we go to line 9 of the program, which means we have to invoke again. This is the first time we get to this line 9. How do we know this is the first time we get to line 9? We came from line 8. Okay, that's the clue. And since this is the very first time, we have both invocations not resolved, and we start with the left hand, the left invocation. So that means we have to do the same thing again. We have to specify the return info cell, the n for the parameter n, the x for parameter x. My current n is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So this part is just a repetition of what we already know. I mean, this is really not anything new.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Under the line 9, do we have to return to line 11?
Here,
The line 26.
row 26.
Yeah. And under that, do we have to return to line 11?
No, not yet. Okay,
26, yeah.
not yet. This one. Okay. Well, let's start with this one here.
And later it's
Okay.
return.
All right. Okay. Let's redo this. Sometimes I do make mistakes, so I'm not saying that this is correct. Let's just do it again and find out what we're supposed to do. Okay. And we'll go back to row 24 of the trace. And this is why a trace is useful, because you can go to any particular row and say, okay, I want to restart execution from that point to double check to make sure it's correct. And you can, because every single row tells you exactly the state of the entire program at that point of time. Okay, on row 24 of the trace, what we are doing is we are attempting to execute line not. Let's see here. We are back to line 9 because of this. This is the reason. So we have to roll all the way back to line 22 to make it clear. On line 22, we are returning 6 times 7. No, we are not returning 6 times 7. Line 6 is just resolving the 7. It's copying and pasting and changing the 7. Okay, but we are not executing returns 6 times 7. After line 6, we go to line 11, which is the end of the subroutine. At the end of the subroutine, we deallocate all the columns, and then we use the return info cell to tell us where to go back to. The return info cell, which is J22 this time, is telling me I have to go back to line 9, but we also want to execute return 6 times 7. Return 6 times 7 is ready to execute because I can calculate 6 times 7 being 42. So I am executing on row 24. I'm actually executing return 42. To execute return 42, we go to the beginning of this thing here. We copy and paste the return info cell. We change the question mark to a 42, and we are done with this line 9. Then we proceed to line 11. Line 11 is the end of the subroutine. We deallocate all the columns, and then we go back to what the return info cell is telling me to go back to. So now we have to be careful because this tells me where to go back to continue execution, right? So I'm going back to line 9 on row 26 of the trace and try to execute the statement as specified in G24. Am I ready to return yet?
No.
Okay, if I'm not ready to return, that means I have to invoke again. I have to invoke a second time. Let's see. Yeah, but I have the extra stuff here. No. Okay, this is deallocated. That's right. Okay, we're talking about row 26. So this is correct because I have to deallocate first. I go back to line 9. On row 26 of the trace, I execute G24, and as a result, I'm invoking S5 again, and I'm reallocating the columns for return info N and X. So this is correct. There's no problem with it.
And then is they up you go to the line 4, do we have to return to line 11?
Line
28, line 28.
Row 28.
Yeah, after finish the line 9, we should come back to line 11.
Okay, this row, when we execute line 9, we are actually invoking the right-hand side of the invocation. So this is a new invocation. It is the right-hand side.
She was asking was how come after that we don't go to
Because we're invoking, right?
Because we're invoking. When you're invoking, you go to the beginning of the subroutine.
So not return.
Okay, let me show you what we are doing. Okay, we are attempting to execute the right-hand side of line 9 at row 26. When you're invoking, you don't go to line 11, you go to the beginning of the subroutine. which starts on line 4. So are we doing okay with this? Okay. And as a result, because we are starting on line 4, we check the condition. The condition is false. We go to line 8. Line 8 adds 2 to x, but since x is an alias of column C gets incremented by 2. Then we go to line 9 because it's line 9 follows line 8. And this is the first time we get to line 9 of this invocation, which means we have to take care of the left invocation first. The left invocation, if we are taking care of the left invocation, then the return info would look like this. It's going to be return question mark and then times the right-hand side, because we are only taking care of the left-hand side for this invocation. Are we doing okay with this?
Isn't it 42?
No, it's not 42. This is a different invocation. Yeah, because we came from line 8, right? If we came from line 8, that means this is the first time we get to this line 9, which means we have to start from the left invocation again. The other one is fully resolved. Okay, this is a brand new one in which nothing is resolved at this point. And since nothing is resolved, we start with the left-hand side.
And this is changing, so it's not going to be 42.
It's not going to be changed. It's not going to be 42. It's going to be different. Yes.
There's actually one case where it's multiplying the two things together. It's not the same as squaring.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not squaring. It's not doubling. It's different. Okay. I made up this example just so that it can illustrate, that you can give it the same parameters. You can give it, but it won't return the same value on the two sides of the operator. So are we still doing okay with this?
That's only when you have by reference, though.
Okay, let me just say that again, and you guys have to watch the video clip, and just kind of slow it down, and see if you can write down some notes. Okay, I know this is the first time I get to line 9 of this invocation because I came from line 8. Okay, if I came from line 11, that is a return, which means I'm revisiting that line 9 of that invocation. But since I came from line 8, this is the first time I get to this line 9 of this invocation. Now, the first time you get to line 9, nothing is resolved. You have both the left-hand side and the right-hand side unresolved at this point. Using the convention of reading from left to right, we deal with the left-hand side first. So when we are invoking S5, we're going to invoke the one on the left-hand side first. Okay? So when we're invoking a subroutine, we always start from the beginning, which is line 4. Line 4 is asking the same question, except this time the answer is true. Okay? Then we go to line 5. Line 5 is adding 1 to column C. Column C had a value of 9. Now it has a value of 10. Then we go to line 6. Line 6 is a return statement. We executed the return statement. The return statement wants to return x. X is an alias of column C. Column C has a value of 10. So what I do is I copy and paste the return info cell, change the question mark to a 10, and I'm done with line 6. Is that okay? Then we move on to line 11, the end of the subroutine. We deallocate the 3 columns, and then we have to go back according to the return info cell. The return info cell, which is J34 this time, tells me that I have to go back to line 9. Okay, I go back to line 9, and I will attempt to execute the statement as specified by J34 on row 36 of the trace. Am I ready to return yet? No, because I have the